Well, good, let's say good morning. Yeah, because it's pretty early. But I'll say good morning, no matter what platform you look at this on, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But good morning to you. I really appreciate having black men in my life that we can have these real conversations with, that I can have those conversations with. And I'm really going and piggybacking off of a video that I just watched from one of my brothers I grew up with. I call him my brother. We're not actually related through blood. It's more related through Christ. We went to the same church. We don't have, none of our parents are related or anything like that, but it's just, there's a bond that you have with people that you go to church with, that it just goes beyond any kind of relationship that you may have with even family members. But there's some people that I grew up in church with that I see as family members because we've been through hell and high water together. So I'll say that. But I really enjoyed watching his video because that's another thing that I have learned. It's great to have people in your circle that have a divert. It's great to have a circle of people that have great minds and they think differently than you, but you can all agree upon the same thing. And that's what I really appreciate about him, because every time he drops a video, it really does make me think about things in a different light. But it also reigns true that I can really see that we were raised the same way in the same church family, because I really have to say that our pastor really did a great job of teaching us how to be good men and good women. But what I really appreciate about his video, and please definitely go watch it. You can watch it before you watch mine, or whenever you get a chance to watch his video. My brother, I'm sorry, I can't remember if I want to say he does use his name, Kenneth, and I'll try to put the link in here somewhere once I edit this video. But I really appreciated the topic was about a victim mentality that we as black people in America are accused of having. Now, when I originally looked at the title, I thought one thing, but actually seeing the video, it definitely it took a whole nother turn that I wasn't expecting, but I liked. So I have to totally agree with my brother. I have seen in my life, and I'm actually a little older than him, but we both were born in that same generation, just like he spoke about that generation, being born after 75, because I was born right, I barely made 80. I was born in actually December of 1980, but the beginning of the month, so I was born on the 5th of December 1980. So I was like right there on the cusp of almost being born in 81, but I'm still considered an 80s baby. But what I really enjoyed about the video was the perspective of thinking how people, and sometimes it's even our own people, our own black people, will blame some of our own race for having a victim mentality. And I have to agree with my brother because I've seen it myself. My mother and my father, my mother was born in 1950, my dad was born in 1948. So they definitely saw a lot. And unfortunately, they saw the bad side of, thankfully, what we as kids that were born 1975 or later, we didn't have to deal with it, but we learned about it. And I really appreciate my parents for teaching me everything that I did not learn in school. I thank God for my church. I thank God for the schools I went to, that they made it was very important for you to learn your history. And I feel kind of bad about our current generation, that they are not getting the same kind of teaching that I received. But I make it my goal to make sure that I teach my niece and nephew, and teach those that are coming behind me. I'm gonna try to teach them as much as I can, because just because things are better now, they're better, but it's not perfect. I promise you that. It's better, but it's not perfect. It's just like my brother Kenneth was talking about. Some of us accuse our older generation, I would say people that are around my mom and dad's age, they would accuse them of a victim mentality. And I would have to call that some some BS, because if you could let, if my mom or my dad could tell you some of the stories of what they went through as children, you would understand why they act the way they act. And it's like a lot of times I have to remind myself of that, because when me being older now and having those adult conversations with your parents, and realizing that sometimes your parents still see you as being like high school age or being middle school age or something like that, you got to understand that your parents are always going to see you in that light no matter what. I say it like this. My parents have still seen me at that age, and I have been married and divorced. I haven't had any kids yet. But I feel like even after I have kids, they're still going to see me at that age, because it's like you permanently stay at that age for them. And I get it, because I know I would never take the route of disrespecting my parents and calling them by their first names. Never. Now, the only way my parents would hear a first name is because me and my father have the same name. I'm junior, he's senior. That's the only way I could probably say it and not get knocked out, because we have the same name. But I would never do it purposely. I would do it jokingly, but I would never come at my dad and call him, "Hey, Claude." He'll be like, "What?" And then y'all probably hear about me being in the hospital, but that's a whole nother story. But what I wanted to say is that I can see the trauma in my mother. And sometimes it saddens me to think about it. But when my mom mentions a person of the Caucasian race, you can see the pain in her eyes. And it saddens me sometimes to see it. And I even think about sometimes when she mentioned, like, if I ever dated a Caucasian woman, which, let's just be real. In all honesty, okay, I'll say that I have a very diverse attraction to women. I would say I'm attracted to a lot of different women, different shapes, different sizes, different complexions. But I'm going to just keep it real with you. I find that the women that I feel are more, that I find most attractive, are definitely my African American sisters, my Latino sisters. I also have found some Asian women attractive. And I will also say I have found some Caucasian women attractive. But as you can see, as I named that list, you can see who's at the top of the list. But I say that to say, oh, and I also have found women of Native American and also of Indian heritage attractive as well. So I'll say pretty much I found attractiveness in just about every race. But I'll say that as far as my experience, I've only dated 90%. Yeah, I say like 90% of the women I've dated have been African American women, and I've dated like one woman that was Hispanic. She was Puerto Rican, and then I dated one woman that was Jamaican and German. So I guess that would be my partial experience with a woman that was partially Caucasian. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think her dad was Caucasian and her mom was Jamaican. Whatever the case may be. But I say all that to say, I could see the seriousness and the pain in my mother's eyes when I think one day just randomly I mentioned the fact of, oh, Mom, what if I brought home a woman that was Caucasian? She was like, what? And I was like, oh, here we go. But one thing I will say, I have learned to not say never to something. So the way I leave it is, God can be very comical, because I have noticed at times when you try to say, oh, I would never, God will make you eat your words. So that's why I kind of leave it open, because like I said, I have found attraction to just about every race of women. And I'll say it like this. I don't have a color preference. I have a shape preference. And I kind of leave it at that, because I'm trying to be PG about this conversation. But yeah, but as I said, my experience, the other thing that comes into play is the actual person being attracted to you. And that's what I was going to say. That's the other thing I've experienced, where majority of the women that are attracted to me are usually African American women, Spanish women, mainly those two. I have rarely had Asian or Indian or Native American or Caucasian women be attracted to me. So that plays a part in it too. But I say all that to say, and I know I got kind of off topic, but I definitely understand where he's coming from, because we can accuse some of our older generations of having a victim mentality, but you can't say that when you didn't experience what they experienced. And it's not a victim mentality per se in their part. They're still experiencing trauma, because you got to think, we were not offered the same I want to say medical and mental health and all those things that Caucasian people were offered. We didn't get offered that same kind of thing in their generations. And that's one thing that we have to really look at, is that you've had generations of people that were traumatized by what Caucasian people did to their parents, to them, to their grandparents. So you got to understand that that stuff just don't go away. And some of them live with those horrors for the rest of their lives, and you have to really understand. That's really all you can do, because you can't overlook it. You can't throw a sheet over it and act like it doesn't exist. They experience trauma, and trauma doesn't go away. I have learned in myself that mental health is important, but it was for so long avoided by black people because we felt like everything could be Jesus the way. And I'm not saying it can't, but I'm saying that now we know that why not only just do Jesus and not only pray and read your word and not only do that, but also take advantage of the mental health opportunities and things that we have available now, because some people don't even realize that some of that stuff, you just got to talk it out. And I will say wholeheartedly, I definitely agree with taking advantage of having the opportunities to see a mental health counselor, therapist, whatever you want to call it, because I have done it myself. And it has helped me greatly, because going through a divorce is like a death. And that can cause some trauma. And I want to say that people don't understand that trauma can cause, I want to say, if I'm saying it right, PTSD, if I abbreviated that correctly. And what I want to say is well, post-traumatic stress disorder. And people don't even realize a lot of military people suffer from that, but they don't realize that that even happens in just normal civilian life, where you have PTSD from something that somebody did to you that was just so wrong. So I say all that to say, we can't call our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers and call them having a victim mentality when you didn't live through the trauma that they lived through. That trauma can last a lifetime. And I don't think we understand that. I feel that we have to respect it. I feel that we should have conversations with them, those that are still alive. Thank God my parents are still here. Unfortunately, all of my grandparents are gone. So I wish we could have had those kind of conversations, but you can't make somebody talk about something that they're not ready to talk about. And then they may never be ready to talk about it. So you have to give them that respect, because you wouldn't want somebody to force you to talk about something that you don't want to talk about. So I definitely wholeheartedly agree with my brother. To really understand more of what I'm saying, definitely watch his video. But I just kind of piggybacked off of it and wanted to give my feedback, because I thought it was a great topic, and I think we should talk about it more, because we don't realize that, like this great saying says, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I think a lot of times what we deal with and suffer with in our current lives, we could have avoided if we would have learned from our past. So if you didn't hear anything else I said, that is the main point of this video. being able to look at the past, learn from the past, so we don't repeat past mistakes. Thank you. May God bless you and keep you.